Mr President, I want to start by stating my support and also thanking the member for Rosevears and his team for bringing forward a positive motion for us to discuss today. It's a good one. Oh, you know, yes, there's a few members of your team around, aren't there? Even in the chamber today. The motion raises several significant points. Perhaps most importantly, though, it recognises the role that the study of civics and citizenship plays in our society, a very positive role. I believe that our curriculum should encompass a breadth of subjects which provide a really rich educational opportunity and accommodates a whole range of talents and interests and capabilities amongst young children and young people in our schools. And while it's, of course, quite essentially important to focus on the 3 Rs, the curriculum should also be inclusive of other areas that provide that enrichment, things like arts or technologies or indeed civics and citizenship. Placing civics and citizenship within the national curriculum, I believe, is a real recognition of the benefits that a full and rich education can provide and is capable of producing citizens that can participate fully in their community. As the motion states, providing civics education equips young people with the necessary skills to have their say, but I feel that civics has a much more of a role to play than merely educating students on the parliamentary system or the mechanics of how to vote. On a broader scale, what I think it does, it helps us maintain a strong democracy. And on an individual level, civics can also be a real spark for students to become engaged and passionate about politics and advocacy. And I support the comments made by the member for Murchison around the need or the value in having people develop a real interest and passion in pursuing politics and of having a whole range of people from our community coming to public service and politics and the contribution that would make to the outcomes for our state if that were to happen. But also there's people who engage in the political space, not necessarily directly as politicians or would-be politicians, but also just in terms of advocacy, whether it's on issue areas or from the perspective of certain cohorts in the community or from particular industries or all sorts of things. Advocacy and engagement into the political space is also a really important contributor to progressing public policy and progressing political discussion. And I think that civics and citizenship competency and knowledge is something that can also equip people to be very effective in that advocacy space too. So I see that as a real plus. I think a program like Youth Parliament is a real testament to what civics education and engagement can mean for our young people. I recall my eldest daughter participated in Youth Parliament when she went through high school and she found it to be a very valuable and enjoyable experience.
One of my sons did too.
She was in fact
the same year as the leader's son.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and she was Deputy Premier, so I thought that was quite impressive. Yes, that's right. And I doubt that she'll probably go into politics, but she did enjoy Youth Parliament at the time. And I was very happy, particularly happy, having already had some exposure to Youth Parliament, to be involved this year as a newly minted member of this chamber. To participate in Youth Parliament and observe the depth of engagement that's there amongst the young people participating, not to mention their real passion and verve in debating issues of importance, not issues of frivolity or issues that are only relevant to children. They actually participated in thoughtful debate about meaningful issues, and I think that's excellent. One aspect of Youth Parliament which impressed me really was the range of students that we had from the variety of schools that were there. Many regions of the state were represented and students came from a whole range of backgrounds. We should always be striving to improve our schools, Mr President, and the educational opportunities of our children, and in fact other debates today we've touched into that space also. I'm a passionate advocate for a strong public school system, and I'm grateful for the clause in this motion which recognises the role that schools play in civics education. It was pleasing to see and it was quite informative for me to read in the motion about the National Assessment Program and some of the results that have come out of that. That tells us that the majority of grade 6 and grade 10 students in Tasmania believe in the importance of discussing politics. With 2 students in my own household, grade 5 and 6, I can tell you that it's a compulsory subject when in my household. They don't get to escape it, so they'd be contributing to that statistic.
From memory, at school they'll be learning about federation through the chair.
All kinds of things like that. In fact, one of my very proud moments was when my second daughter was in grade 5 last year and we were heading off to vote in an election that occurred early last year. And as we were heading towards the voting station, she said to me, "Now we're going to see a Robson rotation here on these ballot papers. I hope you..." And I was just about fainted from pride. Yep. So yes, I think it's brilliant that students at that age are engaged in learning about the mechanics of politics, learning about the history of our federation and our system of government. It's incredibly important because I have experienced, and I think maybe other members here may also have had this experience of many discussions with friends and associates who actually were never given the opportunity to learn about our system of government or really the basis of our voting system. And I've had to sort of step out in a nice little voting 101 with many adults in my life, not to tell them how to vote. Never would I do such a thing. Never would I do such a thing. But to just talk them through the structure of our parliamentary system and the mechanics of how our voting system works. And so I believe that it's really sets you behind the 8 ball if you get to adulthood and you haven't had a chance to learn that. And I really support the idea that we make sure all children coming through our schooling system do have the chance to learn that. I did note also in that National Assessment Program that rather concerning statistic, and I think it might have been from the 2016 assessment that was done. I think that's what you were referencing in the motion, Member for Roseviers, that only 30% of Tasmanian grade 10 students appear to have proficient standard in civics. That's a shame, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there then for us to be doing a little better in that area. I wonder whether, if that was a statistic from 2016, whether there's been some improvements or investments since that time at a federal or state level that would have helped to shift that figure. I'd be interested to know. And perhaps, I think the same surveys conducted at intervals, perhaps the more updated statistic will give us better news on that one. So in close, I just wish to express my support for the motion and thank the member for Roseviers for providing us with an opportunity to discuss it today.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. The Honourable Leader.